Дорогие коллеги, я думаю, что уже пора начать. Уже 6 минут 12. Итак, уважаемые гости, уважаемые спикеры, уважаемые организаторы, участники международного вебинара, уважаемые коллеги, студенты, партнеры, дорогие друзья. Мне очень приятно обратиться к вам со словами приветствия и поблагодарить вас за интерес и за соучастие. Разрешите мне открыть наш второй вебинар из серии встреч с университетами Центральной Азии и Ирана по теме «Цифровизация высшего образования в контексте пандемии COVID-19. Болгария, Узбекистан». И разрешите мне привести слова ректора Софийского университета профессора Анастаса Герджикова из его приветствия к академической общности по поводу Дня святых братьев Кирилла и Мефодия, болгарской азбуки, просвещения, культуры и славянской письменности. Итак, мы быстро убедились, что несмотря на множество преимуществ этих технологий, очное обучение не имеет альтернативы. Причина в личном контакте, который нельзя заменить богатыми цифровыми ресурсами, интерактивными платформами или даже синхронным электронным обучением. И еще, личный контакт дает то, что остается недостижимой для искусственного интеллекта. Человеческий пример, человеческая мудрость, человеческая любовь и гуманность. Мне кажется, что это очень точные и верные слова. Когда говорим о цифровизации образования, нельзя забывать о человеке. Тем более мы призваны не только передавать знания, а и воспитывать, социализировать молодых людей. Мы свидетели, что произошел настоящий прорыв в цифровизации образования. Эпидемия ускорила внедрение новых технологий. Кризис COVID-19 стал серьезным испытанием для университетов. Процесс обучения и всю образовательную инфраструктуру необходимо было преобразовать, переформатировать полностью онлайн. И то, образно говоря, за несколько дней. Это вызов для всех стран мира, включая и наши страны. Цифровые технологии станут ключевым отличительным фактором для успешного перехода к устойчивой экономике и устойчивому обществу и после пандемии. Надо списать все ненужное, формировать новое качество человеческого потенциала, людей-созидателей. Надо работать на опережение, на будущее, запускать проекты созидания. В образовательных системах происходят беспрецедентные в истории изменения. Цели и роль образования уже начали пересматриваться. Меняются концепции знания и механизмы его распространения. Происходит значительное изменение навыков. Меняются также модели предоставления образовательных услуг. Меняется роль университетов в расширении знаний посредством исследований и превращения их в полезные инновации. Меняются образовательные парадигмы. В марте 2021 года Европейская комиссия предоставила видение, цели и пути успешной цифровой трансформации Европы к 2030 году. Чтобы помочь людям сориентироваться в сверхинтернете будущего, Еврокомиссия представила свой собственный цифровой компас. На вхождение в цифровую эпоху нацелена и новая программа Erasmus+ 2021-2027 год. Она продолжает оставаться уникальной по своим масштабам и всемирно признанной из-за ее доступности для остального мира. Программа будет поддерживать экологический и цифровой переход. Об этом заявила болгарский еврокомиссар Мария Габриэль. Программа также будет более открыта для международного сотрудничества с третьими странами. Она также отметила, что в Erasmus+ будет поддерживать развитие цифровых навыков в соответствии со своей ключевой инициативой с новым планом действий по цифровому образованию. Программа продолжит укреплять сотрудничество и обмен в области цифрового образования на уровне Европейского Союза, помогать высшим учебным заведениям в Европе и за рубежом в их усилиях по интернационализации национальных систем образования и обучения. Особо надо подчеркнуть, что цифровизация, в частности высшего образования, остается важной сферой взаимодействия Европейского Союза со странами Центральной Азии и с Ираном. Пандемия внесла серьезные коррективы и в различные аспекты деятельности университета, включительно и в международное академическое и научное сотрудничество. Нам необходимо выявить, какие практики являются эффективными в налаживании системы цифровой поддержки международной образовательной деятельности университетов в условиях пандемии. Вызовы, стоящие перед межуниверситетскими партнерствами в части поддержания мобильности студентов, преподавателей и ученых в новых условиях, а также возможные новые направления и формы сотрудничества, ставят нас перед задачей вместе, это слово я несколько раз повторю, вместе искать и продвигать практики, которые актуальны для современности. Софийский университет, старейший и ведущий университет Болгарии, стремится к развитию сотрудничества с представителями научного и академического сообщества, университетами, общественными организациями всего мира на основе развития двухстороннего сотрудничества и в участии ряд академических ассоциаций. Например, в прошлом году наш университет стал членом одного из рейтинговых европейских альянсов Европейская ассоциация университетов. У нас есть более 350 двусторонних соглашений с другими университетами, более 700 соглашений по программе Erasmus+. Наряду с этим наш университет строит и научную инфраструктуру. В результате Софийский университет открыл центры передового опыта и достижений. Одним из них Гейт-институт, работа которого посвящена большим данным и искусственному интеллекту. Другой центр за выдающиеся достижения в области информатики. Работает и Центр компетенций в области биотехнологий, чистой воды и современных технологий, связанных с окружающей средой. Кроме того, у нас есть Центр компетенций в области культурного и исторического наследия. И сейчас строится еще один центр в области искусственного интеллекта. Здесь я бы добавила и наш центр, научно-образовательный и культурный центр Аль-Фараби, который открылся в 2019 году, цель которого – инициации, налаживания, координации сотрудничества с университетами Центральной Азии. На основе достижений Софийского университета в области академического и научного развития команда университета этим проектом, а именно организацией серии вебинаров, предлагает вместе построить, построить сетевое сотрудничество с университетами Центральной Азии и Ирана, которое позволит исследователям, преподавателям и студентам не только сотрудничать друг с другом, но и участвовать в интересных совместных проектах со своими коллегами в Европе и в других частях мира. Наша цель – найти инновационные и прагматичные решения для преодоления текущих проблем и создания более устойчивых и инклюзивных систем цифрового образования. Надеемся на основе углубленного анализа тенденций развития высшего образования заложить основу для создания совместных программ, участия в международных образовательных и научных проектах с университетами региона, представители которых участвуют в профессиональных онлайн-встречах. И еще, через активное вовлечение студентов в вебинары мы намерены ознакомить их с культурой стран региона, что имеет важное значение для международного образования и диалога. для продвижения обучения и научных знаний, для содействия пониманию и уважению среди людей с разным происхождением и взглядами. Организаторы и партнеры подготовили показать короткие фильмы о культуре и истории Болгарии и Узбекистана и вместе совершить онлайн-путешествие. Главное, что мы все понимаем, что назад к аналоговому прошлому дороги нет. И вместе надо входить в цифровую эпоху и в новую нормальность. В конце разрешите поблагодарить наших партнеров из Бухарского государственного университета в лице ректора уважаемого профессора Хамидова, проректора профессора Жураева, профессора Жураевой, доцент Хажиевой и всех коллег университета, наших студентов за их доверие и эффективное сотрудничество. Начало нашего сотрудничества с Бухарским университетом как раз пришлось во время пандемии в онлайн-формате в мае 2020 года. И благодаря открытому доверительному диалогу мы успели в это время организовать магистерскую программу двойного диплома «Иностранный язык английский, литература медий», и с летнего семестра по этой программе приняли первые студенты, которые, кстати, участвуют в нашем вебинаре. За долгие месяцы коронавирусного кризиса было сделано все, чтобы в непростой ситуации наладить и сохранить контакт и продолжить продуктивный обмен мнениями и опытом. В результате доверительного диалога и последующего открытого обсуждения стало возможным определить решение обозначенных проблем и найти пути для эффективного взаимодействия. Желаю нашему форуму плодотворной работы. Спасибо за внимание. А сейчас у вас у всех есть программа. Идем по программе. Хочу предоставить слово профессор Мадлен Дановой, декан факультета классических и новой филологии Софийского университета, человека, который очень активно работает для развития международного сотрудничества Софийского университета и в частности с университетами Центральной Азии. Пожалуйста, профессор Данова.
Thank you very much to Violeta Dubicina, and I'm really glad that I can welcome all our guests today, colleagues from Bukhara State University, but also from other universities, our students. Thank you very much to Professor Hamidov. Thank you very much to Professor Juraev. Thank you very much to Professor Stefanova being here with us today, and to all the other speakers. It's my great pleasure to welcome all of you to this second webinar devoted to not only the digitalization and education in this very difficult time of the COVID pandemic, but also to making our cultures known to students and colleagues from both Central Asia universities and of course here in Bulgaria. So this is our second go, and I'm really happy that we have also our students here today. I'm also very happy that this whole series of seminars is organized by the Faculty of Classical and Modern Philology, one of the biggest faculties of Sofia University, where we have more than 20 different BA programs in different languages and cultures. We offer more than 40 foreign languages for our students, and not only the students of the faculty, but the students of Sofia University to study including such unique programs that you cannot find anywhere else in Bulgaria, as our Iranian studies, as our studies in Turkic and Altaic languages and cultures, which of course is something that we are very proud of. Of course, as the name of our faculty suggests, it's also classical languages and cultures that we teach. It's not only the Eastern or the modern, what we call modern languages and cultures, but I believe that this is the place where such dual degree programs and this kind of international cooperation can work best. Well, I'm boasting, as you can imagine, but being the dean of the faculty, I'm really proud of the achievements of the Faculty of Classical and Modern Philology. Of course, as Violeta Dubicina already said, nothing is possible without this cooperation, without this mutual understanding and all these ties that we have with people who work in the same field of studies, people that think in the same way as us. So thank you once again to all our partners from Central Asia and in particular Bukhara State University. I'm really happy to have the students from Bukhara University here with us here virtually, unfortunately, but that's what we will be talking about today, how virtually we stay in contact despite the pandemic, despite the fact that we cannot travel and we cannot be together as we used to be, as we were accustomed to be. I'm sure that today, again, we will have a lot of interesting topics discussed, and that would give this basis for further research, further investigation in the ways in which this pandemic has influenced us. I hope today we talk only about the positive aspects of it. So thank you once again, and I'm sure it will be a very interesting seminar that we will have today. So welcome once again. Thank you.
Спасибо вам, профессор Данова, за пожелания, за теплые слова. А сейчас разрешите мне предоставить слово уважаемому профессору Хамидову, без поддержки которого вряд ли бы могли мы сейчас здесь быть вместе и радоваться тому, что мы наладили наше сотрудничество. Пожалуйста, профессор Хамидов.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги, уважаемые господа. Я очень рад вас сегодня видеть онлайне. Позвольте продолжить мою вступительную речь на английском языке. Good day, everybody, dear colleagues, dear participants. The series of webinars organized in cooperation with European and Asian countries has a great importance in internationalization of education system and digitalization of teaching in the context of global issues such as the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Bukhara State University was successful to establish mutual beneficial and promising partnership with the Sofia University. On the basis of the signed memorandum between Sofia University and Bukhara State University, a double diploma degree program in Master Administration program was organized on the specialty English languages, literature, and mass media. Now, 7 of our students are getting online education. Since that time, our cooperation is developing, and with effort of the rationally thinking team is getting into a new stage. We are planning to internationalize our action in the sphere of education and the culture. Our intention is to create a global net of education and involve more students from other parts of the world to integrate as many spheres of education as it's possible. Pandemic showed us that it's realizable and to organize a qualified e-learning. And moreover, this event is demonstrating us that culture can also be interwoven into education and be displayed through internet. What has been done in Uzbekistan during COVID-19 pandemic in education system. So as a part of a global community, Uzbekistan had faced a challenge in educational system. The education of more than 1.5 million students was paralyzed at the beginning of the world pandemic. But in a short period of the time, the problem found its solution due to strategic and step-by-step educational policy of the Uzbek government. New models of teaching, educational platform, and online meetings are being used since that period to continue and give effective teaching and getting qualitative learning opportunities. Currently, all of the Uzbek higher education institutions are using the Moodle platform, Hemis platform to organize and continue the educational process. This webinars is very topical, and the organizers will exchange the ideas connected with the e-learning, and I wish good luck to all of the participants, and I hope this cooperation will bring new opportunities for the development of education in Europe and Asia. In future, we are expecting to have qualified and highly professional alumni who can bring innovative European ideas to Uzbek teaching context. Thank you for your attention.
Огромное спасибо, профессор Хамидов. Надеемся, что вместе с вами продолжим наше сотрудничество. Спасибо вам. Сейчас очень прошу нашего системного администратора включить фильм про Болгарию. Владо.
Момент.
Чтобы хоть немножечко прикоснулись к Болгарии. Надеемся, что в следующем году все вместе будем.
If you want to learn more about Bulgarian culture, just come with me. And do not be amazed that for many things I use the same word. Unique. You will see for yourselves. Neseba is a romantic town and one of the most frequently visited tourist destinations. It is one of the UNESCO sites in Bulgaria. Sozopol is also located on the seaside, with gorgeous beaches and preserved architecture and atmosphere. Bulgarian lands were among the earliest inhabited ones in Europe, lured by the strategic location, a crossroads between Europe and the Orient. The mild climate and the fertile soil, Thracians, Greeks, Celts, Goths and Romans have all been here. Ancient civilizations which inhabited this lovely land have left their imprints. Beglik Tash is the name of our megalithic compound created around the 14th century BC. Legend has it that anyone passing through will be exonerated of their sins. Bulgarians believe that miracles happen today if you only have faith. For example, if a sick person spends the night at Krastova Gora, they can be healed. Christianity has been the official religion of the Bulgarian state since the 9th century. Bulgarian national and cultural identity have been preserved through the ages in many Orthodox churches and monasteries. I will take you to Boiana Church, one of 11 UNESCO heritage sites in Bulgaria. The Boiana artist and his pupils painted 240 images of prominent individuality and psychologism. Rila Monastery is the sanctuary of Bulgarian spirit. It keeps valuable manuscripts in Cyrillic, our alphabet. The creators of our alphabet, the Holy Brothers Cyril and Methodius, are most revered in Bulgaria. At the end of summer, near Zharavna village, a festival of Bulgarian folklore costumes is held. In June, visit Bulgari village in the Stranja Mountains. There you can witness a unique ritual, fire dancing or nestinarstvo. The ritual is a mixture of Orthodox beliefs and older pagan traditions. These menacing masks and huge bells are used to scare evil spirits away. These are kukeri. The bagpipe is a traditional Bulgarian instrument. Go to the festival in Gela village. The sound of the bagpipe may touch your heart. Listen. The sounds of the Bulgarian bagpipe intertwined in the famous Rodopi song, Izlel e Delu Haidutin, can be heard in outer space. The Madara horseman is the only rock carving in Europe that dates back to the early Middle Ages. A similar artifact is found in Persia only. Welcome to the former Bulgarian capital city, Veliko Turnovo. The fortresses in the city are enthralling, built in the 12th century on the inapproachable hills. Do not miss the light show of Tsarovets fortress. The second largest Bulgarian city, Plovdiv, is situated on the banks of the river Maritsa. The ancient city was the center of the Roman province of Thrace. The Roman past of Plovdiv will charm you. Visit the ancient theatre. Visit the Roman stadium. You know who Dionysus is, right? Dionysus is the god of wine and grapes. He was worshipped by Greeks and Romans. Only the Dionysus cult originates from Thracians. And who were the Thracians? Bulgarian lands keep the memory of their life. Kazanluk area is called the Valley of Thracian Kings because of the many Thracian burial chambers found there. The biggest one is at Starosel. A Thracian king is believed to have been buried there. Visit also Sveshtari tomb with its beautiful female figurines, a UNESCO site. During springtime, the fields around Kazanluk become rose-tinted in color. Rose growing has been the livelihood of local people for centuries. Bulgaria is a multicultural country. A tour around the capital city, Sofia, is sufficient to indicate what you will see throughout Bulgaria. A cathedral, synagogue, and mosque live together here. An archaeological park and a crypt of the early Christian church. These are martinitsi. They're made of red and white threads and are the symbol of spring. Gorgeous and preserved nature, unique traditions, hospitable people and centuries-old history. Here the diversity of the whole Balkan Peninsula is brought together. You already know the most important things about Bulgaria. It is time to learn more by visiting us. Welcome to Bulgaria. We're looking forward to greeting you.
После этой красивой прогулки по Болгарии разрешите мне предоставить слово профессор Стефановой, проректор Софийского университета, и поблагодарить, что она приняла наше приглашение выступить перед нами с докладом. Пожалуйста, профессор Стефанова.
Спасибо. Разрешите меня старт на английского языка.
Конечно.
Can I share my screen? I prepare a short presentation so to be easier for you to follow it. I hope you see it now.
Yes, yes,
visible.
yes,
Yeah?
yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I would like to move from our traditions to our reality, and thanks again for inviting me, and also thank you very much to all colleagues from all universities participated in today's webinar, and of course all our students, but as you know, we also thinking they are our colleagues. So I would like to share with you some of things happens during last year and a little bit more, mainly about what happens in our university because of the COVID-19. I named my presentation Digital Transformation Catalyzed by COVID Pandemic Challenges and Solutions, and I believe that in many other universities, you have the same as us challenges and maybe similar solutions. But let's see what happens at ours. First, let's see what challenges we have during this time. I started, of course, because of my current position from perspective of the management and university point of view to see what challenge as university we had as whole related to technologies for education process and also for research. As maybe you know, or part of you know from some of previous webinars you had and Professor Danova shared, we had before the pandemic e-learning management systems used, but they were not used systematically. And in addition, they used but not with so many people together in one and the same time. And we hadn't at that time some, let's say, stress tests to see how many people could work with them together. When pandemic start, we know in advance that we have a lot of limits. First, limits related to speed of the links, because we had one central point where our servers are located, and we know that this point haven't enough speed to cover all necessary capacity for all the students and teachers together, professors together. In addition, we know that it will be good if we record, for example, lectures in addition to providing all the materials. And especially for the recording of lectures, we know that we haven't enough data storage. Also, one of the problems in the beginning related to the research was especially remote access to the research databases, because we had access in the buildings, in the network of the university, itself, but remote access were not allowed, not by us, by all people responsible for the research databases outside the university. In addition, we have our specialized unit supporting the technologies at the university, but these people are not so many, so to support everyone for day-to-day activities in online environment. And we know also that we had a problem with this in the beginning. And as all other people, if we haven't enough speed, storage, and support, you need additional money, and that was also limit. We have, let's say, no enough money, no enough finances in the beginning to cover immediately what we would like to have. Second challenge we had, again from management and university perspective, was related with technologies for administrative processes. We had in the beginning, before the crisis, some use of, for example, payment of student taxes, and also some usage of data signature at the university, but this was not widely used. We used to see later some percentage about this. In addition, we had also partially available some technologies for seeing how administrative documents are moving between different administrative units, but they also were very limited. And in addition, at that moment, we were not provided any kind of, let's say, electronic desk for the administration, or some kind of electronic submission of academic procedures. During the pandemic, it was necessary to have new solutions about this. Third challenge is again from managers' perspective, related to regulations, knowledge, skills, and culture at the university. As I already shared, we had a lot of technologies, but for use of most of them, there was not enough regulations to be used widely. In addition, we can say that knowledge, skills, and culture of use of electronic communication and IT in general were available, but we saw that many people have not enough skills, at least, to use them in the context they need, and having in mind that this need to happen very, very quickly and switch rapidly between different type of technologies. From professors, students, and staff perspectives, there was also challenges, of course, because for them, a lot of technological tools were, in most of the cases, unknown or unintuitive or ungettable, let's say. What we try to do, so to find solutions for these and other challenges we had, thinking about technologies for educational process and research, we decide to provide hybrid solution for especially learning management system. As I already shared, we had in advance established, but in addition to this, we try to make as much as possible automated process for all activities related to use of the system, including first integrated it with available specialized student information management system, where all data about students, about academic staff, courses, etc. are available. Integrating learning management system with that system made possible to automate the process for generating all courses, enrolled all students and professors at the learning management system Moodle we use, and also to add to the Moodle a lot of additional modules, especially for synchronous virtual classroom. In our case, we integrated Big Blue Button and Jitsi, these two different virtual classrooms. In addition to this, we provided to our colleagues, students, and academic staff available Microsoft Teams environment, which was also based on use of information from student information management system. According to the problems we had with some of the databases for research, we also made integration and provided, for example, to JSTOR database, integrated JSTOR with our student information management system, so to be able from remote places, our colleagues to have access to it. One of the things we also did during this period, we upgrading the links to main campuses, especially to this one. We have our servers. We upgraded them to 10 gigabits per second to 3 of main campuses where we had, let's say, more intensive work. Also, we made another upgrading for data storage, combining our university resources with available via some projects, so to be able to develop clusters of servers for our colleagues. In addition, we decided to support our colleagues at 2 levels. First one, of course, as I already mentioned, by our central unit responsible for information technologies, and second by colleagues at faculty levels, where we had at least one person who can connect with central unit if it's necessary to find additional support and it's not possible to solve the problems at faculty level. Just to see what happened here, you can see a picture from November period in general. This is already a cluster with 7 nodes we established after November previous year. Before that, we hadn't such capacity, but these different colors are because of the different usage of the separate nodes of that cluster. Here you can see the picture of the on the daily basis, let's say, on different days, but you can see that even on Saturday and Sunday, we have classes and usage of these clusters. I mentioned them especially here to be visible. This makes difficult also to have some additional activities related to changes of some equipment, for example, because we have very small time without activity. This is usually between, let's say, 2-3 o'clock and 6 o'clock during the night. All other periods are very, very busy usually. I just share here one picture for one, let's say, not busy day, or in the less busy busiest day maybe, because this day is between some holidays, one day between several holidays, and you can see that even during that period, on different nodes, there are enough of meetings with peoples there. So really we need to have place and to have capacity to cover all these needs. In addition, all these videos you see here should be stored somewhere. Of course, involvement of students, I suppose you can read, because many of you maybe know Cyrillic letters here, but the picture was took, yeah, took in Bulgarian here in the beginning. What is the whole process of usage of the system? We have approximately 25,000 users, unique users, but in different days, these users can use the system many times, log in, log out, and so the total number of the visiting and using the learning management system, this is just by usage of Moodle, not usage of the, for example, Microsoft Teams. I didn't make such pictures to show you for Microsoft Teams, for example. In addition, I mentioned also what problems we had about administrative processes. Here, I show what happened during the pandemic. Before the pandemic, usage of the system for payment of student taxes were approximately 20%. Now it is approximately 17%. The less number is you see in times. And now the rest of the students pay by bank transfer, which makes problem, because not of them show correctly who pays, which faculty belongs, etc., etc. And we will try to move to 100% for payment of the taxes. About digital signature, we provided to our professors, PhD students, and administrative staff internal, let's say, possibility to have digital signature, and in addition to sign all the documents internally used with these signatures. We even have special letter of rector of our university regulating that, so to be possible to use these signatures for that purposes. In addition, in order to be possible, all colleagues use our electronic procedure for all documents internally in the university. We created special email address for submitting electronic documents, and after that, all the people could send their documents there, and after that, documents are processed automatically, not automatically by people, of course, but completely electronically, not using paper. Of course, if some other organization which is outside the university requires especially to have the document on paper, it's possible. Also, we established electronic desks for administration and electronic submission of academic procedures, so to be not necessary to go to the place at the university and to give your paper there. In addition to have all this possible, we try to regulate it as much as possible, adoption of these all things, all technologies at the university, especially about signing the documents, signing these documents related to the exam marks. You know that this is very important in our universities. Also, we organized a lot of things, and we allow our colleagues to organize department council, faculty council, academic council. Even we organized our university general assembly via electronic systems. Some of them were organized in Moodle. Other colleagues prefer to organize them in Teams. Some of these is related to the maximum capacity we can provide to the colleagues in Moodle and also in Microsoft Teams. In Moodle, in Big Blue Button, we can have good quality up to 100 people. In Microsoft Teams, up to 250 people. But our General Assembly was organized via Moodle and Big Blue Button with a little bit complicated technology and support. And we show that even in that virtual reality is possible, but of course is more difficult for all of us. Of course, I already mentioned about this completely electronic submission of all documents for academic procedures. These were regulated, including in our internal rules about academic procedures and adopted by our academic council. Of course, we had also PhD students' defenses and academic staff procedure completely online during this period and still continues in such manner. Especially for PhD students, some of people are also using Zoom as platform, but others are using Microsoft Teams. Professor Danova knows very well that we also organized PhD students exam for admission, especially online, because during the winter was not possible to organize in other way. And if we needed to postpone it, we'll use the whole year. That's why it was necessary to have some way to organize them. And also we install special environment for continuing professional development courses because they are separate flow of our students in our university. Relating to the knowledge, skill and culture at our university, especially in the beginning, but even now we continue with a lot of webinars. It was good to have such community at our university because more experienced professors and partially IT staff taught other university professors how to use a lot of systems, a lot of technologies we try to provide for short time. Even in advance, some of the people had some knowledge. It was very important to see the support from the community. In addition, our administrative staff was very stressed, especially in the beginning, and in most of the cases, IT professionals led webinars for them to introduce to more and more peers technologies in their daily work. And finally, we can say that we changing the culture for electronic communication, mostly in action. So using it, we become all in university, we are becoming better in all this. Thank you for your attention, and I'm sorry, maybe I had longer than necessary presentation. I hope that it was interesting for you. Thanks again. Violetta, maybe your microphone is not switched on.
Извините, да. Огромное спасибо, профессор Стефанова, за на самом деле интересный, содержательный, информативный, познавательный ваш доклад. Я думаю, он вызвал интерес у коллег. Скорее всего, будут и вопросы. Пожалуйста, если не сможете задать, так как время ограничено, то мы передадим профессору Стефановой обязательно. Но огромное спасибо. А сейчас разрешите передать уже руководство моей коллеге, это доцент Хажиевой.
Спасибо, Виолетта. Thank you very much. And I'm sending my greetings from Bukhara State University. And I'm very happy to see here all of you, and my greetings to the teaching staff of Sophia University, and to Al-Farabi Cultural Center and Center for the Eastern Languages and Cultures of Sophia University. So I hope that you are enjoying our webinar. And now I wanted to highlight that there are so many participants from other universities of Uzbekistan, such as Karshi State University, Samarkand State University, and also from Samarkand University, we have here Professor Gargesh, who is currently the head of the Department of English language and in Samarkand State University. And also there are participants from Tashkent Pediatric Medical Institute. Here we have a keynote speech from Professor Sobir Nurkhajaev, and also there are participants from Urgench branch of Tashkent Medical Academy and many other universities. So we have students, and now I would like to just say a few words about the digital system in Bukhara State University in Uzbekistan. Of course, our teachers are also implementing the technologies in their teaching, and they are using many learning management systems such as Moodle or Hemis platforms, and they have already been mentioned by our rector. And also we are getting benefit from Google Drive, the possibilities of Google Drive in creating our materials in assessment using Google Forms, and many tools such as Kahoot, Flipgrid, CommonLint to enhance the quality of teaching and getting education. So alongside with such an important topic being discussed in our webinar, we introduce some cultural events and some cultural videos in order to exchange, to show virtually the cultures, because pandemic just made it impossible to travel, but online travels are also possible. That's why here we just played some videos, and we are forwarding the cultural values of Bulgaria, Uzbekistan, and other partner universities to exchange cultural and historical heritage. And this is closely connected with the education of Uzbek system, because spirituality, aesthetic, and moral points of teaching are also very important. And now all over the world, the technology is so highly developed that it covers almost all sphere of it, from entertainment to education, virtual reality, just makes or enables people to convey the cultural values through digital words. We know that in highly developed countries, virtual museums have already been created, and during pandemic, when we were staying at home, we just could travel and see like it is a real thing. Of course, our video, it is not virtual reality, but we try to show the best sides of Uzbekistan, and via online excursions about learn the culture of Uzbek via video. So I should also give credit to the students of Bukhara State University, because they helped me to create this video. From YouTube, I couldn't find a suitable video in English, and our students did their best to create. So now, if you let me to share my screen, I would just play the video. It is 10-15 minutes, and I hope you will enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
So. I'm so sorry.
Uzbekistan is a bright and blossoming country, is widely known as a land of majestic architecture. Today, it is a home for more than 34 million people with a territory of 448 square kilometers. Several centuries ago, one of the most important trade centers of Silk Road were located here. This is the home of great Tamerlan and his grandson Mirza Ulugh, the prominent astronomer, mathematician, poet and enlightener of ancient East. He built the first and the biggest observatories in Asia. The abundant number of minarets and madrasas show the grace and elegance of Uzbeks, their rich history and unique culture. Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan, is the biggest, modern, vibrant and green metropolis of the country. This is a city where people of different nations and religions live in an agreement. The city which was able to perfectly balance the past and the present. And the greatest example of it can be the oldest Quran in the world, kept in the Hazrat Imam complex. The book weighs more than 60 kilograms and is written on deer skin. Another charming place of Tashkent is a snow-white mosque. The Mosque Minor is one of the recent mosques of Uzbekistan. Shining in the bright rays of the sun, the mosque astonishes locals and tourists with its majesty and grandeur. The blue dome of it blends with the clear sky. This place demonstrates architectural peculiarities and development of Uzbek and Islamic culture. Tashkent Metro was built in 1977 and became the first metro in Central Asia. All of the stations are decorated in Oriental style and imbued with national spirit. Samarkand. No name is as evocative of Silk Road, the great trading route between China and Mediterranean region, as Samarkand. For most people, it has the mystical resonance of Zanzibar or Timbuktu, fixed in the Western imagination by poets and playwrights, few of whom saw the city in real. The city, destroyed by Mongols and abandoned by the inhabitants during the reign of Amir Timur, was turned into the most privileged cities of Maverenagh. Turquoise domes, bright mosaic, beautiful gardens, numerous mosques and mausoleums make a person feel as a hero of Oriental tale. Samarkand, once the capital of Timurid Empire, still is considered as a cultural and historical centers of Uzbekistan. The patron of the city, Amir Timur, also known as a Tamerlan, is one of the most important historical figures of the world. The great commander and statesman left a huge heritage ranging from literary works and regulations for government rule to unique masterpieces of ancient architecture that have entered world history. The Bibi Hanum Mausoleum is one of the most important monuments of Samarkand. In the 15th century, it was one of the largest and the most magnificent mosques of the Islamic world. According to the legend, the mosque got its name in honor of the beloved wife of Tamerlan, representing his love and respect. The Timurid Mausoleum, erected on the initiative and the expense of Amir Timur in 1404, a masterpiece of Persian architecture, occupies an important role in the history of the world. The Mausoleum of Timurid served as a prototype of famous architectural monuments of Baburid's era, the Humayun Mausoleum in Delhi and the Taj Mahal Mausoleum in Agra, built by the descendants of Timur, who at one time were the ruling dynasty of North India. This architectural complex contains the tombs of Tamerlan, his sons Shahrukh and Miranshah, his grandsons Ulughbek and Muhammad Sultan. A solid block of dark green nephrite is placed over the grave of Tamerlan. All the walls are decorated in blue, light blue, and white tones with marble and gold. The earliest part of the complex was built at the end of the 14th century. Now, only the foundations of madrasa and hanaka, the entrance portal, and a part of one of 4 minarets remain. Since the times of Great Silk Road in Samarkand, the city of handicraft, different artisans are still keeping the tradition of Oriental style. In souvenir shops of Samarkand, one may get lost in a variety of colors and ornaments, various embroidered quilts and pillowcases, traditional ikat, ropes and suzanne, scarves and silk carpets, ceramic dishes and karakul, smithery items and leather paintings may conjure the mind. According to the legends, Hiva was founded by the son of Noah, Shem, when he dug a well in the middle of the desert. People who drank water of that well exclaimed as Hiva, which roughly means sweet water. Cities in Central Asia were traditionally split into 2, isolated one from another is Hiva, an internal town, Ichankala, and external town, Dishankala. Alongside with Samarkand, Hiva was also located on the crossroads of the Great Silk Road as an important post that connected 2 powerful lands, China and Rome. The mysterious city of Hiva has managed to keep an exotic image of the eastern city in the ancient Ishankala, with more than 60 historical monuments. This minaret was built in 1851 by Muhammad Amin Khan, who, according to the legend, wanted to build a minaret so high he could see all the way to Bukhara. Unfortunately, the Khan died in 1855, leaving the beautifully tiled structure unfinished. This minaret was built by the first vizier of Hiva Hanate Islam Hoja. The purpose of all minarets in Islamic architecture were calling to prayer, azan, and all of them served as lighthouses for caravans. The large and atmospheric Juma Mosque is intriguing for the 218 wooden columns brought from many corners of globe and dating from 10th to 18th centuries. All the columns in the mosque are positioned in geometrically proportionate distance of 3.14 meters, equal to mathematical constant P. سمرقند سیقل روی زمین است. بخارا قوت اسلامی دین است. Bukhara, a marvelous oasis in the endless desert, embodies a centuries-old history of ancient traditions with Islam. This is a city with an incredible atmosphere of wisdom, sacredness, and teaching. This city, destroyed and rebuilt several times, exposes architectural jewels from several centuries as Ark Citadel, Menorah Kalon, Miri Arab Madrasa, Labi House complex with several blue-domed mosques and labyrinth streets. However, it is the Ark Citadel which graced almost every postcard of Bukhara. It was home to the rulers of Bukhara for a millennium, as well as such brilliant minds like great philosopher Omar Khayyam and physician Avicenna. This place has its own beautiful history. According to the legend, Siyavush, a young man, wanted to marry the daughter of the ruler of Afrasiab. Afrasiab that he would give his beloved daughter in marriage if the young man built a fortress on a bull skin. A smart boy cut the skin into many stripes, bent them, and according to this perimeter he erected an incredible residence. At the moment, Ark is the oldest architectural monument. However, in the beginning of the 20th century, the monument was almost destroyed. Bukhara is well known to the world not only with its mosques and madrasa, but also with its trading domes, stretching in possession from Labi House to the Miri Arab Madrasa. Today, there are 4 trading domes where you can feel the spirit of ancient merchants and artisans. These domes date back from 16th century, and the first one is Toqazargaron, the Dome of Jewels. It used to accommodate 36 workshops and jewelers' shop. Toqatel Pakfrashon, here one could buy luxurious headdresses ranging from gold embroidered skull caps to cunningly rolled turban. Toqa Sarafon, under this dome, money dealers, sarafs, used to exchange the money of traders. This dome is the most richly embellished out of 4 trading domes, and the last one is Tsim Abdullah Khan. For centuries, clothes and carpets were traded here. The main ensemble in Bukhara Center, Poikalon, situated in the way to trade crossings of 4 bazaars, trading domes, and means the pedestal of the great. Ensemble consists of 3 monuments. Minaret Kalan, the symbol of Bukhara. There is a legend connected with Genghis Khan and the tower. After entering and destroying half of the city, he entered the square near the minaret and looked up at the tower. While doing so, his helmet fell on the ground. He had to bend over and pick it up. Then, the powerful commander said, "I have never bowed in my life, but this construction is so majestic that it's worth a bow." Another 2 constructions of the monument are Miri Arab Madrasa, the most preeminent of the Islamic world. Vegetable and geometric patterns prevail in the external decoration, and the domes are covered with blue tile. The second one is Masjid Kalon, the biggest mosque of ancient Asia, which serves as the Friday's mosque today. Its continuous presence underscores Bukhara's status as one of the premier Islamic sites of Central Asia. Both monuments still remain in active use. Uzbekistan is a small country with huge history and big-hearted people. Everyone who visits it immediately falls in love with its unique cities, exotic food, and captivating customs. The land of wisdom and strong spirituality has its caravan of culture now to Europe, Bulgaria, following the traditions of the Great Silk Road.
Конечно.
So, yes, let me just give the floor to Professor Abror Joraev, PhD Vice Rector for International Cooperation, Bukhara State University, and his just a lecture. His presentation title is Digitalization and Internationalization of Education in Uzbekistan in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. So, please, Abror Turobovic.
Yes, thank you, colleagues. Let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, it is visible.
Прекрасно видно все.
Yeah, thank you, dear colleagues. My small presentation is about digitalization and internationalization of higher education in Uzbekistan in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. As our colleagues who spoke before me, they also underlined some pros and cons of the changes and challenges and solutions of COVID-19 pandemic. The same was also applicable to us. So now I will give a short information about this. Of course, as an introduction, I would like to speak about the internationalization of universities. What does it mean? Before many years ago, the internationalization everywhere and also in Uzbekistan, it was accepted as just at a little extent, like implementation of international or intercultural or global aspects in providing higher education services at the country. But now, in this globalization time, of course, the internationalization of universities covers many aspects like commercialization of science, generating income by attracting foreign students, and promotion of the national education system in international area and others. And if you look at the internationalization of universities from time perspective, of course, the first internationalization initiatives were in China, Central Asia, and Middle East during 9th and 12th centuries. The first academic mobilities we can see at that time, like, for example, the people moving from Central Asia to Europe or from China to Europe, from China to Central Asia, from Central Asia to modern Russia or Middle East countries was very common. For example, if you look at the life and the stories and history of that time, we can witness that many prominent people, scientists were traveling from Central Asia to Middle East or from China to other countries. So in modern language, we can say that the academic mobility started at that time. Then comes the time of Europe in the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and then the very good, very important thing that promoted internationalization in the Middle Ages in Europe was the Latin language. But in 18th, 19th centuries, the universities in Europe went more national, like French universities were teaching in French, the others in others, like the Austro-Hungarian were teaching in their languages, the modern Germany or Prussia of that time were teaching in German, Italian universities started to teach in Italian. And then the first institutional changes like organization like British Council, DAAD, Fulbright, the others were created from mid-20th century, and we witnessed the very accelerated internationalization from 90s, and this COVID-19 pandemic also brought its solution for some things in internationalization. For example, from our perspective, from our experience, I can say that at our university, internationalization lengths growth increased by times. They tripled or maybe 4 times increased because of the usage of IT in internationalization initiatives. Here you can see the 6 components of university internationalization, like transboundary or global movement of the knowledge, inter-country mobility, international cooperation, international education, international similarities, and international reputation. I don't want to speak much about this. And the main idea that internationalization and ICT, they are developing together, and all aspects or tendencies, aims of the internationalization can be made easier with ICT usage. Here you can see the main facts about the higher education of Uzbekistan, and here you can see that the usage of ICT in pandemic time allowed us to also still expand the higher education coverage. For example, you can see that number of higher education institutions has raised almost doubled in the last 4 years, and even during the pandemic time in 2020, you can see that there were 12 new higher education institutions were opened in Uzbekistan. The number of students is also rising. You can see that it also doubled, and in 5 years, now at this moment we have around 600,000 students in Uzbekistan. Or also there is an increase in the number of specialties, and also we could do good results in external studies specialties, like in Russian we say it like zaochna, in Uzbek sirtqi ta'lim, because the usage of ICT and allowed us to organize this kind of studies. And also here you can see the number of teaching staff. Yes, at this moment at universities there are almost 30,000 teachers in Uzbekistan. Okay, what during pandemic, what happened in higher education, and in particular in digitalization of higher education in Uzbekistan? For example, here you can see that some initiatives that were organized by that are the results of IT software usage. For example, of course, when we closed the borders and we closed the universities, let me say, on 16th March from the last year, we went to distant education, like also in the Sofia University, as dear Professor Stefano said. We had some tools of distant education. We had the Moodle, but we were not using that. We were using it very rarely. So they became very important, and fortunately, this kind of things were started many years ago, and we had to revitalize this software and this kind of platforms. And so distant education platforms for studying at universities were started to be used in totally, and of course for trainings for university administrators and teachers. The training courses were also organized online, and like in Bulgaria, you said, all the meetings went online, and even the exams of PhD students or normal students were organized online, and the defense of PhD thesis went online. And also the implementation of QR code was very increased, and now we are using the software for registering bachelor and master diplomas online with the QR codes. Interactive services, of course, platforms for online application. For example, from last year, as a result of the pandemic, the application to universities or also applications for the transfer between universities was done online. So you can imagine how many resources and how much work resources were saved, economized because of this online application. Because the number of applicants to universities in Uzbekistan is more than 1,500,000, and all these applications had to be done to universities by paper, by face-to-face, offline, before the pandemic. But now we understand and we could implement that these millions of applications were done online. And also the platform for Republican Online Olympiads for students was done online. Also, of course, there was much attention to the formation or improvement of the infrastructure. For example, by the end of the 2020, it's like 5 months ago, there were almost 2,000 very big servers used in our universities for supporting the online or distant education, with near more than 9,000 very strong computers used for the data processing. And the government and some companies provided that distant education platforms so that they were used online for free. And the mobile companies or internet companies started to provide some tariffs that included free entry to do educational resources. For example, all university online libraries and their Moodle systems are they don't consume the tariffs. I mean, they consume tariffs, but this is free. So in these data plans, for example, you go to, for example, I think you understand that all the mobile companies are providing free internet for the entry to educational resources, and universities started to create their media studios and smart classes. And also here more information is given, like in Sofia University or in general in Bulgaria. We increased the speed of internet, and the average speed of internet at universities was increased 20 times, from 50 megabytes per second to 1 gigabyte in second. And it also ranges from less minimum of 1 giga to big numbers, depending on the financial resources of the universities. And foreign teachers started teaching online while they were teaching offline here, and the numbers increased. For example, at our university, 9 to 10, for example, or 15 maximum, there were foreign teachers teaching to our students. But when we went online, for example, in 2021, we are planning, and it's expected, we started that more than 70 foreign teachers will teach to our students. And of course, we are, due to use of internet and ICT, we are started to climb up in Webometrics rankings. The same support was done by the state in interactive government services. For example, again, like in Sofia University, now all university services, student taxes, student tuition fees, for example, can be paid online. Students, they don't need to come to university, or they don't need to come to banks. And now the student database of whole the country is online, and universities started to open their business accelerators and IT parts. And there is one big HEMIS system, like Higher Education Management Information System, which is implemented in whole country, but some universities are elaborating their own systems, like UniWork at our university, which covers from A to Z, all A to Z to all the university administration management system at the university. For example, like in Sofia University, also went to digital signatures, and for example, also the document flow. You said that our colleague said, Elisa Stefanova said, the documents flow within the universities online. But for example, in our case, we are connected to IJRO. It's called the name of the system, IJRO system, and we are connected with document flow not only within the university but in the whole country. The all government companies, government bodies, regional municipalities, universities, schools, everyone is connected to this system. So document flow between is online not only within the university but also within the country. And of course, some here is some facts about foreign universities in our market. For example, you can see that in 2020, there were, like in pandemic time, 6 universities, new universities were open, either being foreign university or international university, like Uzbek, Russian university, let's say, or private Uzbek higher education universities. And branches, you can see that many countries have our branches, with Russia with being the top, with 12 branches of Russian universities are operating in our country. And joint degree programs, they started in Uzbekistan in 2018, like with 15 programs, but in 2020, there are 58 double degree programs in Uzbekistan. One of them, of course, like our program, it's Sofia University, and you can see the number of universities. It raised almost 8 times, like from 1,130 to in 2020, there are more than 8,000 students who are studying in joint degree or double degree programs. And here we have some little SWOT analysis of the universities digitalization during COVID pandemic in Uzbekistan. The strengths of our universities was that we could quickly adapt to new realities, because, as I said before, we have started digitalization or using Moodle many years ago. But of course, it was like we had that, but we were not using that. So at least we could quickly adapt to new realities. And we received very good support from the government, like exemption of from tax payments in some, for example, technical purchases, purchase of IT things, or bringing IT or software or hardware from the foreign countries. They were exempt of taxes, so we received full government support. And financial means, the universities here are getting bigger, and their financial resources are also increasing. So the universities had good financial means, and or speaking about our university, we had enough financial resources to buy new servers, new computers, to pay for better internet and others. And as I said before, like we have very big number of applicants. So for the coming years, we will still have like guaranteed number of students for many coming years, and still we lack the number of seats like for students. So still many universities can be opened in Uzbekistan to cover the demand from the applicants. So guaranteed number of students here means the guaranteed number of financial flows. And the pace of COVID-19 infection is comparably low if you compare with other countries. So we went back to offline face-to-face education from November last year, and but still the online and digitalized services are still good. And of course, we have some weaknesses, like also in other universities, some teachers or administrators have poor information technologies or foreign language skills, so they couldn't adapt to new realities, new things very fast. And also in some universities, they don't have good technical infrastructure depending on their financial resources, financial means. And of course, not all of the students have conditions for online or distant education, because they stayed at home from March to November and they had to study online. But of course, there are remote areas with the problems of internet, or even the the starting conditions like having the normal computer, let's say, or internet connection, or even the smartphones. But we had the opportunities are that the increased coverage of population with higher education. This is due to increased technical and legal means. This will bring extra financial flows to us. And also the digitalization is bringing expanded internationalization to universities. And now we are thinking about distant opening the university branches. For example, as I know, 2 universities in Uzbekistan, they opened their branches in foreign countries. For example, Bukhara State Medical Institute could open their branch in India, or Tashkent State Institute of Dentistry, if I'm not mistaken, opened their branch in Spain. And this administration or teaching in these branches are done distantly by using the digital means. So now we are speaking about virtual academic mobility. So by digitalization, we can provide more academic mobility, and the internationalization. Staying at home is can be promoted by the digitalization. But of course, we have some threats. The distant education or online education is not every time, for example, as a tool, is a tool for very good, maybe quality education. So we sometimes witness that in the starting months, we witness the decreased education quality. And also one of the problems of some smaller universities here, but not only here, but everywhere in the world, that because of their small size, they don't have enough, for example, financial flows, financial resources to provide very good quality technical support. And of course, the distant or online education needs very good monitoring of the exam systems. And one of the threats is can be that falsification in exams, so that students or the other trainees can be doing some cheating. So this was a short SWOT analysis and information about the higher education of Uzbekistan and during pandemic time. I'm ready to answer to your questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Abror Turovic, for very informative lecture and detailed analysis of digitalization in our higher educational system. And now I think we will give the floor to another speaker. This is Laziz Khojaqulov, Head of Department, Ministry of Public Education, and his lecture is devoted to foreign language teaching in the system of public education of Uzbekistan during COVID-19 pandemic. So please, thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you some brief info on the public education perspective of Uzbekistan during the pandemic. And then, contrary to what has been informed by my colleagues beforehand, for the higher education, then one thing to note is the public education covers a much broader audience, which is around like the 6 million students in the schools and 500,000 teachers. So just to give some brief outline of what the Ministry of the Public Education has done so far for to combat the COVID pandemic crisis, and then what needs yet to be done. Let me show you some brief presentation in order not to overwhelm you. So if you don't mind, I would like to share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's great then. We have been conducting research in the pandemic together with the UNICEF from the very first day.
Aziz Shorevich,
Yes.
you are sharing other screen.
Well,
You are sharing the IJRO system, which I spoke about.
let me. Okay, just let me see. Wow. Okay, just a moment.
Expand it.
Wait. Hold on, just a moment. I will try to reshare it. Yeah, I'll try to reshare it. Okay. Just a moment. Okay. So is it okay now?
No, not yet.
I think you should close all the windows.
Yeah, but
all
no,
the yes. No?
It's not about maybe the Windows. Well, just a moment. Let me see. Okay. It should be fine now.
Yes.
It is.
It's fine. So, okay, thank you. So let me just show you some brief things. Okay, so we in March 18, we had to close the almost 10,000 schools, which affected around the 6 million students. And one of the first things was how to close the gap in the education, in public education. And then we've checked about the several solutions. So the closest solution was that, well, we were checking on what exactly we can do. So there were 3 options, basically. The first option was like somehow not so high technology, but affordable means of the distance learning, which was the result of the status quo of the public education system. So we, in most cases, we didn't have the good internet connectivity. The bandwidth was quite limited. So we were thinking to either to print out the materials and then to distribute it via schools, which was the case, for example, in Germany, though the internet was fine in Germany. But then also we were thinking about some kind of, in some areas where the internet was fine, we were thinking of using some learning apps, or let's say like Google Classroom, or use some social media like Telegram, which is quite popular in Uzbekistan, or WhatsApp, or etc. But then also one of the feasible ones was the television, because during our investigation, we found out that the 98% of the territory of Uzbekistan is covered by the high quality HD TV signal. And then that means that it would be accessible to all the students which have to stay home because of the pandemic. So the Minister of the Public Education decided to use the television in order to deliver the teaching and learning materials. So it was the reason. So you can see of the rural population, the 98.4% of the population had the TV. And then in the urban areas, 97.7. But this shouldn't be something distracting, because in the urban population, they have more like devices like laptops and IPTV. So in general, so this was at the first glance, some strange figures. But in any case, the overall 98% of the population had the TV, either the LCD or the ordinary. So the discussion was that, so we're going to keep the television. So how we did was we have the Republican Education Center, which is the some kind of implementing body of the Ministry of the Public Education, which was dealing with the TV materials. So as you can see, we received the authorization from the government to to hold the four TV channels. So these are all the government-owned TV channels. They were leased to the public education, Ministry of the Public Education to use it. And then also we set up the online school, the Telegram channel, which is now has around like 90,000 subscribers, and then around 2.6 million views daily. So in order to be able to share the TV lessons for those who might not be able to watch the TV lessons on time, or for the families who have like several kids, and then if there is only one TV set, so that they can also watch it through Telegram. So as you can see, the figures is like that. So we have filmed out the 2,000 lessons in Uzbek language and 2,000 lessons in Russian language and 1,000 lessons in Karakalpak language. So the total duration of the lessons in hours was 1,462 for Uzbek, and almost a similar number in Russian, whereas in Karakalpak language, it was 445. The reason why in Karakalpak language this was less than in Uzbek and Russian is because most Karakalpak students, they they understand either Uzbek or Russian, and also because of the limited time, we were unable to afford to take so many lessons. But basically, so as you can see from this figure, for example, when we investigated how the learning through distance learning mode was able to reach its aim, I mean, to cover the students, we can see that 85 of the students, they watch TV. Some of them, they did the self-study with the textbooks. Some of them they did with teacher remote support, and only 2% of the students, they reported they dropped out. So also some more figures for you to understand. So as you can see, the reasons for students why they did not participate in the education, I mean the distance learning through the COVID lockdown was some 21% of the students, they didn't have TV at home. Of those 2%, I mean, of those 2%. And then of those, the 2% who dropped out from the distance education, 23%, they had some electricity disruption, and the remaining others, there were some not significant reasons. And then of those, who were unable to get access to the distance learning mode on TV, most of them, they were reported from the rural areas. As you can see from this chart, and how the students participate in the digital distance learning. So 69% of the students, they access through the television lessons. And when it comes to the parents, 59%, because for us, the parents' participation in the distance learning, especially for the school children, was really important, because many children, especially in the primary education, the 1st to 4th grade, they still do not realize the importance of the education. So we were trying to raise the awareness of the parents. And then the second most popular option was by Telegram. As I said, the Telegram is the most popular chatting and the social communication platform in Uzbekistan. And the phone and internet was the roles was not significant. So as you can see, we've also made an investigation on how the parents were feeling about the positive features of the distance learning, with the emphasis on the TV learning. So so you can see we've divided the audience into 3 categories. Tashkent city, which has the most sophisticated infrastructure and then the best internet connection of all the country. And then we've also considered the rural area where most of our students, affected students, are located. And we also considered the urban area and all the cities except Tashkent. So in Tashkent, the parents thought that 40% of the parents thought the TV helps study at home. And then in the rural area, expectedly 49% of the parents, which is higher than Tashkent, they thought that the TV helps study. But in the urban area, other cities of Uzbekistan, 52% of the parents thought that the TV lessons, they help. Which means that an average 50% of the parents, they thought that the TV lessons help the education, which is alarming. It means that not all the parents, they do still believe that the distance education is efficient. And when we analyze this academic year, so the parents feeling, yes, it brings the same results. Basically, what the parents thought and what the objective analysis thought, that when we compare the learning achievement last year and when we compare the learning achievement this year, since in this academic year, the students came back to normal schools, so they were mainly able to study in the schools. And then the learning outcomes and then the quality of the education has increased, which again emphasized the importance of the offline education. And then it shows that the offline education is still more efficient than the online education, be it is the TV or the internet. And also for example, when we analyzed what was the problem about the education, the TV education in general for the country, the parents' view, we understood that the lessons that we are providing through TV was a bit too short. Because of course, obviously we were unable to afford 45 minutes, which is a standard lesson time for the public education. We were unable to afford it because we had limited airtime. But also, we also were thinking about the how the students feel on the distance education. And then the students thought in general it was fine. In general, it was fine. Studying at home was comfortable for them. And then we were trying to analyze why students think so. And then most of the students who are, let's say, from the psychologically, they do not feel some pressure from the teacher's authority. So that's why they thought that in the comfort of their home, they get better knowledge, which actually turned out to be something like a perception, but not the true reality, because when we compare last year's results between March 2020 to May 2020, we thought that actually the students' learning outcome results was better this year. And also, when we asked the students what was some negative sides or not so positive sides of the distance education during pandemic, was that most of the students said that the learning through distance learning for the majority part of the students who complained, of course not all did complain, was that the lessons were too difficult to understand. So we understood that our teaching methodology has some problem. So we decided to bring back our methodology and then to check it again, what was the problem. Because when you teach at school, most students are, let's say, shy or not brave enough, let's say, in order to express that the lessons are too difficult to understand. But during the pandemic, one of the good things that we realized for ourselves in the public education was that the students were more honest, so they were able to tell what they think. So basically, there is some summaries on the what we understood as lessons from pandemic, that the 96% of the students, they kept studying. Of those 96% of the students, 85% of the students were enrolled on the studies through TV. And then some of the problems was that although the TV lessons they have some kind of like only a one-way communication, for the feedback from the students, and then in order for the students to submit their homeworks, and in order for the teachers to give the feedback on the homeworks, there was a problem because of this was by means of the internet, and for those rural areas where the internet connectivity was not good, so there was some disruption on that. So from that, still actually we are keeping our 4 channels. We've received the authorization from the government to get the long-term lease for the channels, and still we are continuing our project on the TV lessons, but this is something like an extracurricular activity. And then basically we are trying to keep the pandemic situation in control, at least in schools, when it comes to some antiseptics, and then to keeping the basic hygiene rules in order not to revert to distance education, because the time and then the experiences prove that the distance education is not so effective in the public education. So this is the very brief thing that I would like to explain about the COVID, response to COVID for the Minister of the Public Education. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lazar
Thank you.
Kolovich. So we are all, it was totally agree that the Ministry of Public Education did a great job during the pandemic, and our children were able to watch their lessons, and they were really good teachers. As there is a saying, technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers is transformational. And I totally agree that it was really, the work was done, and still the learners are just getting benefit from these classes by TV. So thank you. And the next speaker is Professor Sober Nurkhajaev, Dean of International Faculty, Tashkent Pediatric Medical Institute. And his topic is experience of Tashkent Pedagogical Medical Institute, Pediatric Medical Institute in organizing educational and practical activities in the context of COVID-19 challenges. So please, Professor Nurkhajaev, you may start. Thank you.
Give me a little minute, a few minutes for the preparation of our presentation, please. Good afternoon once again. Thank you very much for your invitation for the forum. And my presentation will be very shortly because of the, in the pandemic time, organization and educational activities in the universities totally orientated on the digitalization. About this one, Abrar Turapovic presented a presentation about this one. And the main coordination on this pandemic time was in the 4 direction. It was a structural and organizational activity. Because of the pandemic time, we should make some transformation in structure and in organizational part. And the second activities, it was the educational and the methodological activities. Third one was scientific and innovative activations. And the fourth and very important part, it was the practice in time of COVID. So that before I told you about digital university, what was very helpful for us to organizing all our educational activities in time COVID. It was our conception on internationalization during the 2020 and 25. From this conception, we already had some connections and some others international integration with other universities, exactly with the foreign universities. They helped us about integration of the e-learning, about other parts of the developing our infrastructure and other things. So second main development document, it was a conception on Smart Institute during the 2020 and 25. And during the 1.5 years, our institute already had the total reconstruction. And in this time, our institute has overly $3,800,000 for total reconstruction our main educational building. So in this time, we are totally changed our digital part of the university, and our main educational building now had 46 classrooms, and all the classroom have totally orientated for the e-learning tables and everything for e-learning. And third document was a program on adaptation of infrastructure of our institute. And in our infrastructure, we totally beginning to orientate online education. For other things, for this adaptation, we made and built a simulation center. This simulation center is totally orientated for the how it say it, practice, like digital, or how we say it, like preparation, the practice in medicine, because you know now is very actually question when our student not going to the patient beds, and they can come to simulation center and they can take some activation in some simulators or other things. In these things already we took this building for the future online education, if we will have or if we'll continue pandemic time. So otherwise, in the pandemic time, our student working in the some activities like volunteer activities. Our students have some groups. They are working in the call centers on pandemic, and otherwise they have some volunteer groups. And in this time, our 8 students were awarded to the Meher Sakhavat State Badge for pandemic activities, and we are thankful for our students. They are not sitting at home, and they are not only sitting at home and only studying. No, they are doing some best heroes activities, and they are going to some pandemic time and did some good things. And otherwise, also our institute in the pandemic time totally orientated to the educational and practice. So and from the governmental, we have so many rules and governmental commission on pandemic activities had so many rules for the higher education in medicine also, and we totally adopted and take some modernization in our medical education. So thank you very much for your attention. It was my so short presentation because of the time. So anyway, some things about our children. All in all, for the health of children, this is our laws in our institute. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nurkhajaev. It was really informative. Thank you so much. And now I will try to just put my video, but if I can't, then I will send the link so that you could enjoy the video. So please, I will try to do it.
Что-то не везет с этим фильмом.
Is it visible?
Ага. Все. Видно?
Okay.
Но не слышно.
Maybe you can send us the link and we can watch it for ourselves.
Yes, Firuza Melson, I think better to send the link to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is not showing. Can you hear?
No, there's no sound, unfortunately.
There is no sound, and it's interrupted like it's.
Yes. So let's just have the link, and we will.
Yes, Firuza, please close the sharing the screen.
Dear colleagues, can I ask a question to Laziz Khudjaev? Yes, professor.
Yes, Laziz Khudjakulov.
Если вопросы, да.
Yeah. The question is, do you use the results of psychological experiment? Do you implement the results of psychological experiments in your research? As I can see, you did big research in Uzbekistan, and Uzbekistan is my motherland. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very appreciated to hear about the statistics in Uzbekistan. Do you use the results of psychological experiments, or do you conduct psychological experiments in your research?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Yes, we do, but when we did the research, because of ethical reasons, we didn't conduct psychological analysis for the students because we're talking about the school children. But when it came to parents, of course, we sampled 3,000 parents. The 50% of them being from the urban areas, and the remaining 50% being from the rural areas, and we sent out the psychological related questionnaires, which was concentrated on the questions on how the parents cope with the stress of the pandemic and the lockdown, and then how it reflects on their attitude towards their children. Why it was important is because during the pandemic time, most parents also were subject to lockdown, and then their financial stability was somehow affected by that. And we were scared that this negative mood would also reflect on the school children. Then that was the analysis. And the results of the analysis was that luckily, most of the parents, they were let's say strong enough in order to not to reflect their feelings on the moods.
during the lockdown to the students.
Дорогие коллеги, спасибо вам, Лазис, что ответили на вопрос, но очень извиняемся, мы вышли из времени, нет вообще времени для вопросов и ответов, к сожалению. Я хочу сначала поблагодарить нашим докладчикам, которые щедро, на самом деле щедро поделились своими исследованиями, практиками, опытом. И надеюсь, какой-то, наверное, опять же, можно организовать какой-то вебинар, где вообще будет как дискуссионный клуб, так как времени не остается на дискуссии, на вопросы и ответы. А сейчас разрешите мне предоставить слово профессору Панову, директору Центра восточных языков и культур, который закроет наш вебинар. Его включите микрофон.
Где слышно?
Сейчас слышно.
Спасибо. Dear Professor Eliza Stefanova, Vice Rector of Sofia University, St. Clement Ohridsky, dear Professor Danova, Dean of Faculty of Classical and Modern Philology, dear Mrs. Dobichina, Director of the Scientific Educational and Cultural Center Al-Farabi, dear Professor Abidjan Hamidov, Rector of the Bukhara State University, dear Professor Abror Juraev, Vice Rector of the Bukhara State University, dear Dr. Laziz Khujakulov, Head of Department, Ministry of Ministry of Public Education, dear Dr. Sabir Nurkhojaev, Dean of International Faculty, Tashkent Pedagogical Medical Institute, Pediatric Medical Institute. Dear guests, dear colleagues, on behalf of the governing board of the Center for the Eastern Language and Cultures, allow me to thank you for participating in this second webinar on higher education issues in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. I am confident that the increasing reports presented here will contribute to overcoming the difficulties that have arisen as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. They will also contribute to increasing the effectiveness of the digital education in our universities. At the same time, I see this meeting as the beginning of the active cooperation in field of higher education in Bulgaria and Uzbekistan. Thank you again for your participation and stay healthy. И несколько слов по-русски. Уважаемый професор Елиза Стефанова, проректор Софийского университета, уважаемый професор Мадлен Данова, декан факультета классических и новой филологии, уважаемая госпожа Добичина, директор научно-образовательного и культурного центра Ал-Фараби, уважаемый профессор Абиджан Хамидов, ректор Бухарского государственного университета, уважаемый профессор Аброр Джураев, проректор Бухарского государственного университета, уважаемый доктор Лазиз Хаджикулов, директор департамента Министерства образования, уважаемый доктор Сабир Нурходжаев, декан Международного факультета Ташкентского педиатричного медицинского института, дорогие гости и коллеги. Позвольте мне от имени управителного съвета Центъра Восточник язиков и култур поблагодари с вас за участие в этом первом вебинаре, втором вебинаре, да, спасибо, посвященном проблемам высшего образования в связи с пандемией COVID-19. Я убежден, что представленные интересные доклады будут способствовать преодолению трудностей, возникших в результате чрезвычайных обстоятельств. Они также будут способствовать повышению эффективности цифрового образования в наших университетах. В то же время я вижу эту встречу как начало активного сотрудничества в области высшего образования Болгарии и Узбекистана. Еще раз благодарю вас за участие. Будьте здоровы.
Спасибо. Желаю всем всего доброго. Спасибо и казахстанским коллегам, которые подключились. И приглашаем вас, профессор Панов, 9-го, да?
Да, так точно.
9 июня на встрече с университетами Ирана. Будем рады вас видеть. Будет интересно.
До встречи.
Спасибо вам. Приятного дня.
Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Спасибо всем.
Спасибо.
Thank you everyone, and I hope to see you on the 9th of June as well. So thank you very much again. Bye
Спасибо.
bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.